I believe he hit Albus right there, but Albus is still going to stay in the lane just to, toy around with Machi Crew's bot lane at this point.
Now, to my disappointment, it looks as if Honey Rain is building Blue West. That is, in fact, the components of a Manamune coming up.
Yeah.
Thresh Melon does try to get engaged. He does get the auto attack on AN. But
Hanji
is
the hook.
Yes.
Phosphor bomb goes in. Hanji already down to half. Takes another missile barrage to the face. But for a 3v2 trade, AHQ really came out in favor of that one.
Oh yeah. It was to their advantage that they were already pretty close to a turret at that point. By the time that Hanji was in position, they were already backed off.
Yeah.
So,
we know this Blue Ezreal is kind of weak in lane, but boy, look at that. Almost, it's in fact over 20 CS lead right now for Corki.
Indeed. AN is definitely having a good time in his new role. AN was formerly known as Oreo, the mid laner for the original Type A snipers.
Oh, we see the fish coming in, misses the hook, but the flay comes in, and with the Cataclysm takes away Lee mid. Hanxiao teleports in with his slicing Maelstrom, and picks up 2 kills, so actually a 2-for-1 trade coming from AHQ.
Yeah, for Machi's advantage. We saw that Green Tea was basically kicked into turret range. Whoops.
Yeah, exactly. Not all roams work.
Sadly. He did get the hook, so his Thresh game is definitely still on point. It's just bad positioning on that one.
Yeah, and we're looking for Machi Crew to take a dragon here. This will be their first dragon. Fake wards down. Hanji's a little bit low, and Corki's still full health, full mana. Oh, we're going to catch a replay here. So the fish lands on Lee mid. Green Tea actually hooks Hanji in, flays both of them. Cataclysm jumps straight on, finishes in Lee mid. Both teleports coming in at the same time. Hanxiao actually slightly faster. Flash into Slicing Maelstrom. Basically kills both of them. The equalizer is a little bit late, but still pretty well placed compared to his first one.
Interestingly, that flay actually knocked Hanji behind him, setting him up for the Dragon's Rage.
That's a really good point. Wow, Westor actually clashes Lee mid here. Lee mid walks forward. That's interesting.
Misclick.
Probably did not expect the Albus to be right behind him.
No, he definitely did not. That was quite unfortunate. That does tie HQ and crew up with the kills on, 1 kill on Hanji and 2 kills on Hanxiao effectively means that they don't actually have the gold in team fights, given that Hanxiao is going to be spend most of his time up in top lane. So that's unfortunate, given that Westor's having the kill on Westor and Albus in comparison gives HQ a little more presence in the fights.
Yeah, not to mention Machi's crew doesn't have to worry too much, I guess. We're seeing a 4-man red invade here coming from AHQ. Let's see if Hanji actually gets the red. Wow, Hanji's been on point with his smite this game entirely. Goes in, chunks out Albus. Albus has to take the lantern away. And is there going to be a fight? Does not look like it.
Like, Machi's been having a hard time with these back-to-back games, but you have to admit that Hanji's presence of mind is actually pretty good.
Yeah, like both the smite steal and the counter steal, both were coming out in Hanji's favor, and they're going to get a push here.
Yeah, they are sieging the outer mid turret, but it doesn't seem as if they'll be getting much from that.
Yeah, Green Tea does not manage to land the hook. Some poke coming in here and there, and we're really seeing this CS Lee balloon bot lane. Like, yeah. Anne has been left bot lane to do whatever he pleases. Green Tea lands a hook on Hanji, goes past the wall. We see 2 ultimates go down. Equalizer finishes off Hanji, and Machi Crew on full retreat. Fish doesn't actually manage to land there on Lee mid, but Anne is coming in. Green Tea flashes and hooks Thresh Melon again. Thresh Melon doesn't look like he's going to survive this. Can they back away at this point? Lee mid actually knows he's going to die, goes back in. So does Hanxiao, but doesn't manage to lock anyone under the turret. AHQ backs away, so that was just 3 kills in favor of AHQ, no deaths.
And a pause. But that's good, because now we have some time to talk about it. At 15 minutes in, I think Machi is actually already in trouble. They are playing a siege comp. Siege comps need to get ahead early, or they tend not to have any ways to get back in. That's mainly because they can't gain the extra gold off of picks. Whereas AHQ is basically playing... This composition in particular with Fizz and Jarvan and Rumble is pretty much old hat for them. It's like a perfectly fitting glove. They know exactly what to do, and they're doing exactly what they want to do. And I think it's going to be. I think they're already the snowball is already in effect for them.
Yeah, I really got to commend Green Tea for making all the plays so far. Like, we've seen the two realms mid lane. The first two did really work out that well, but the last hook, that vision play there was really good. We saw that Machi Crew just finished a mid push and they were heading through AHQ's red side jungle. They saw pink work, they wanted to take it out, but they didn't put a ward into the red pit before they did so, and Green Tea just caught them completely out. 3 ultimates burned instantly, no hesitation, and they get Hanji down immediately.
Yeah. I have to kind of wonder about how Machi's mental state is at this point, given that they are coming off of Philosophy at this point.
This is a really tough schedule for them.
Yeah. Going against Logitech snipers is okay because the snipers / fighter roster is fairly new in the Taiwanese scene, but going up against AHQ right after losing 2 snipers has to feel really bad. AHQ and Taipei Assassins are currently probably the 2 teams considered in contention for the very top slot of the new LMS circuit.
Exactly. So, would you consider AHQ right now to be the premier team in Taiwan? Do you think they have actually upsetted TPA in that position due to their last Worlds performance?
There's actually a very good argument to be made for that. Now, TPA did change their roster in that time. They picked up Lupin, former Najin Empire sub, for the AD carry position. He's actually been doing pretty well. I've heard that the next game actually goes in their favor because of it. But AHQ's overall consistency has been better than TPA's at this point. When HQ's been in, okay, so the game's going on and it's just basically a farm phase right now for.
Yeah, they're just like resetting past the next fight. We see Westor coming bot lane here just to pick up the wave.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, Thresh and Corki, they're coming to this position as well. Corki already finished his Triforce. Big power spike for him right there. And looks like we're just going to have a couple more farming here.
Yeah. And we see that there's a Sheen going down for Honey Rain. He's probably going to be building that into Iceborne Gauntlet, which I'm not sure if I agree with at this point, given that his team doesn't have any real damage. But it will slow down AHQ's ability to engage by us. The Auto Attacks and the Mystic Shot procs will be able to slow any attempts to catch up to Brew.
Yeah, and we see the Lysandras being built top lane for Rumble here. And
yeah, I'm actually surprised he finished that before Han Xiao, but given that Han Xiao finished this first.
Yeah, Han Xiao is still building for the Zhonya's at this point, so looking for a possible initiation with the poke comp, that's a little weird.
Yep. And now the reason why Liandry is pretty much a core item for Rumble ever since its release is because of how perfectly it complements the Equalizer, obviously. Not only do you have a huge amount of burn damage just innately off of the Equalizer, but now you have the percent HP damage on top of it.
Yeah, and the Equalizer slow actually doubles that percentage damage.
Yep. It's basically the perfect item for him.
Yeah, we're seeing Albus coming top lane for a possible gank right here. Flash is still up for Han Xiao, so... but he's way out of position right now. Han Xiao has to burn his ultimate immediately. Equalizers go down. Han Xiao gets hit by the EQ combo from Albus, and Jarvan picks up the kill right there.
Yep, nice and easy.
Angie coming in, tries to do the flash R, and really good reaction time. Valkyrie straight out of the way and is safe.
Yeah. He's not becoming kills, but he's definitely farming safely, and the 20 CS advantage is definitely to his benefit. Corki is currently doing a lot more damage to Ez right now.
Especially with his Triforce power spike right there. And we see the mid turret getting taken down to only a quarter now by Westor. Westor actually opting for the Morellonomicon instead of the Lichbane that we usually see on Fizzes.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting choice. Lichbane tends to be core on Fizz just because of, well, his Urgent Strike actually triggers the Lichbane proc in the first place. It counts as an auto attack for all intents and purposes, as well as the well, it was the Urgent Strike and what was the buff called? Well, anyhow, the magic damage he puts onto his auto attacks.
Yeah,
it basically allows him to 1 or 2 shots in pretty much any carry in the game, especially if they haven't built any resistances whatsoever. Going at Morellonomicon, however, puts him as more of a utility AP carry, I want to say. Given that what Morellonomicon decreases his cooldowns, gives him a decent amount of AP, but it's really known as as a mitigation for a heal and other healing effects.
Yeah, I guess the CDR is just like what Westdoor has decided is best for his Fizz. Like 20% CDR is nothing to laugh at. It cuts your playful trickster timer down by so much, and you get more chances to initiate. So I guess maybe that's what he's thinking there, or it's just because mid laners now are all using Morellonomicon.
Yeah, it's pretty much a core item for a lot of people now. Much to
Yeah.
Morello's happiness, I have no doubt. You also actually get maximum cooldown reduction with this just off blue buff with the Morellonomicon. So that's definitely a really powerful. That's generally a really powerful item if your main concern is keeping Fizz alive.
Yeah, and we see AHQ taking both the top turret and the mid turret here. Dragon is already alive. Let's see if Machi Crew wants to contest this right now. Teleports both up for the top laner so they can come down at a moment's notice. Lee mid is trying desperately to push this mid lane out. They want to gain more control over here. And Brahmin Hanji roaming around, leaving Ezreal to fend for himself. Is Green Tea going to manage to land the hook? He flashes, heals, but doesn't manage to get it. That was actually a weird sequence, because usually when you flash like that, you would expect the flay to come out first. But.
Well, I think they got rid of the flash flay interaction, right? So it's actually hard to land flay even if you flash in. But being that close to a person when you are death sentence, then generally does make it a little easier. The hitbox is there's a lot less movement options for them to try to clear out the way.
See Honey Rain again evading Green Tea's grasp and using the Arcane Barrage to just push the wave out. And Hanshao is coming in to contest this dragon. We see them grouping on mid, probably trying to put a little bit of damage down onto that mid turret. But I believe AHQ right now is already starting the dragon. Westdoor throws his fish down on Braum. Seems like it was just to clear the wave, and AHQ takes their second dragon, I believe.
Yep. They can't exactly pick off Westdoor with their comp right now. There wasn't any real hard CC to use.
And going in for a solo on Honey Rain, lands, doesn't manage to land the missile barrage. Honey Rain uses his heal, but it's not enough, and still has his heal, and he lives. He lives exactly. That was probably still 2 turrets hits away from killing Ann, just because he had his flash up still. Ziv going on to Thresh Malin, throwing down the equalizer, but decides against it. Yeah, Ziv realized that, wait a minute, there's nobody behind me.
Yeah, I don't have a backup. It'll still enough, however, to put Thresh Malin back to Fountain, because he has to recall and heal off of all that. So the usage wasn't exactly too bad, especially with... you already see that his equalizer is probably going to be up for the next fight anyhow, given that Machi Crew currently is completely on defensive footing. They have no way to actually move out from under their turrets right now, with all the lanes pushed up, or at least at the halfway point.
Yeah, this is not looking good for poke comps.
Yep.
And Braum actually uses his Glacial Fissure down. Albus has to flash away, fish burned by Westdoor, but they still managed to disengage there.
Yep.
I believe the blue buff was taken by Westdoor there, so overall, I'd say nice deal by AHQ, and gets hit by the slow right there, but nothing comes of it.
Yeah, their only instantaneous hard CC is coming out from the Glacial Fissure from Braum. And he's
we're seeing the 4v3 come here in the bot lane. Green Tea manages to land his hook on the Hanshao. Albus jumps in. Hanshao down immediately before he even uses his ult, and going in for the cleanup. Exhaust use. Honey Rain gets hit by the hook again.
Point blank.
Yeah. We have to give props to Green Tea, man. Those hooks were just amazing all day long, man.
Yeah, his Thresh is bannable. The same death sentence that killed Name might not be something you want to face as a Taiwanese ADC.
Exactly. He's just walking forward. Look at the ballsiness of his Thresh right now.
Yeah,
Westward takes another turret in the mid lane, and the push continues. Does not look like Machi Crew has a safe plan to fight this.
Yeah, honestly, poke compositions like the one they're running have a very hard time pulling back into the lane. They don't have a lot of CC2 or control fights. They can't actually engage on a direct 5v5 because the explosive power coming out of Westdoor and Ziv and Albus is just way too much for them to handle. And without all that, and when you're behind, and the only thing that can